Good day, everyone. I am Yula Maria Asunta Therese L. Orubio from 1F of San Beda University, Manila. We will be talking about one of the most debated topics in the Philippine history. The death penalty is a topic of legal and social importance because it raises profound questions about justice, human rights, and the role of the state in punishing crime. The death penalty in the Philippines, also known as capital punishment, refers to the state-sanctioned execution of individuals convicted of certain crimes. It was abolished in 1987 but was reintroduced in 1993 for heinous crimes, leading to a significant number of people on death row. Article 3, Section 19, Paragraph 1 of 1987 Constitution states that excessive fine shall not be imposed, nor cruel, degrading, or inhumane punishment inflicted. Neither shall death penalty be imposed unless for compelling reasons involving heinous crimes. The Congress hereafter provides for it. Any death penalty already imposed shall be reduced to reclusion perpetua. Hence, it has always bothered me and made me ask whether death penalty can be considered a cruel and inhumane punishment under the Philippine law. It is a test for any nation's justice system and human rights commitment. Whether it is enforced or abolished reflects how deeply a country values life, fairness, and humane application of law. One of the most famous cases is Leo Echegaray's case in 1976. It was considered a historic and controversial moment in the Philippine legal history. He became the first person executed by lethal injection, the method prescribed by RA 8177 after the reimposition of death penalty under RA 7659. He was convicted of raping his 10-year-old stepdaughter. His execution was shown in national TV, which sparked intense national and international debate over the morality, constitutionality, and effectiveness of capital punishment. RA 8177 is an act designating death by lethal injection as the method of carrying out capital punishment. Amending for that purpose Article 81 of the Revised Penal Code, it is primarily aimed at ensuring the humane execution of death penalty by lethal injection. It was amended by Section 24 of Republic Act 7659, an act to impose the death penalty on the certain heinous crimes, amending for that purpose the revised penal laws, as amended other special penal laws and for other purposes. It is enacted due to the alarming upsurge of such crime which has resulted not only in the loss of human lives and wanton destruction of property, but also affected the nation's effort towards sustainable economic development and prosperity, while at the same time has undermined the people's faith in the government and the latter's ability to maintain peace and order in the country. The primary legal issue concerning the death penalty in the Philippines is whether it violates the 1987 Constitution's protection of the right to life and its prohibition against cruel, degrading, or inhumane punishment under the Article 3, Section 19, Paragraph 1, and without undermining human dignity and due process. This raises questions about whether capital punishment can ever be consistent with the right to life and human dignity. The risk of wrongful conviction and unequal access to justice further intensify these concerns as the death penalty is irreversible. In addition, the country's commitments with the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights and its Second Opinion Protocol challenge the legality of reimposing executions, whether it can be justified within the constitutional and international human rights framework. The test of the boundaries of justice, constitutional rights, and international commitments are the profound legal implications of death penalty. There is also legal and moral principles associated with it, which is right to life that recognizes the fundamental right under the Constitution and international human rights, human dignity and humane treatment rooted in Article 2, Section 11 of the Constitution, due process of the law that ensures no person shall be deprived of life without fair trial, proportionality of punishment, a legal principle that punishment must be proportionate to the gravity of the offense, international human rights obligation, wherein the Philippines is a signatory to the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, and the second optional protocol which aims to abolish the death penalty globally. The laws concerning the death penalty in the Philippines are highly controversial because they involve a conflict between the state's authority to punish and the individual's constitutional right to life and human dignity. The reimposition of capital punishment was justified through RA 7659 that it was a deterrent to heinous crimes but was criticized for violating the 1987 Constitution. The execution of Leo Echegaray in 1999 intensified public debate on morality and fairness of death penalty, especially given the risk of wrongful convictions. The Echegaray case thus became a pivotal turning point that reignited discussions on the death penalty and influenced the eventual abolition of capital punishment in 2006 through RA 9346. The main research questions that this study will answer is that can the death penalty be considered a cruel and inhumane punishment under the Philippine law? The issue of death penalty is legally important because it challenges the Philippines Constitution, protection of life, dignity, and due process. It forces lawmakers and courts to determine whether the state can lawfully take a life without violating the ban on cruel and inhumane punishment. The matter also carries international significance as the Philippines is bound by treaties that promotes the abolition of execution. Given the irreversible nature of the death penalty and the risk of judicial error, its legality tests the fairness, integrity, and the human rights foundation of the country's justice system. There are few notable cases related to death penalty, aside from Echegaray case, and few national laws enacted by Congress that either impose or abolish the death penalty. These are the global treaties and conventions that the Philippines signed or ratified influencing its policies on the death penalty. One of those is Convention Against Torture, prohibits cruel and inhumane punishment under RA 9346, signed by ex-President Arroyo. For the legal arguments, those in favor cites the following. However, for those against cites the following. For moral and ethical arguments, one of the serious concern is the risk of wrongful execution, aside from it violates the constitutional right to life. For legal focus, the death penalty raises serious constitutional and legal questions. For moral and ethical focus, reflects a deeper moral dilemma between the demand for justice and the sanctity of human life. For social justice and human rights focus, the death penalty disproportionately affects the poor and marginalized with the flaws in the criminal justice system. Combined legal and social perspective remains in conflict with the country's human rights obligation and the evolving social values. For the proposal, it can be made to integrate laws, morality, and human rights. The death penalty remains a relevant topic to society, law, and justice because it focuses on the fundamental questions about life, fairness, and the limits of states' authority. On the legal perspective, it challenges the constitutional safeguards of life and dignity and attests the reliability of the justice system. This study is significantly important because it explores how the death penalty affects the legal, moral, and human rights foundation of the Philippine society. It contributes to the understanding whether capital punishments align with the constitutional protection and international obligations, in assessing its legal and social implications, and seeks to guide in future laws and policies formulation aimed to uphold justice, fairness, and respect for human dignity. Here are the reasons for the legal importance of the topic. The topic is also socially important because it raises these kinds of questions. To end this talk, I would like to say that the death penalty is legally important because it examines even the limits of the law, justice, and human rights. With this, I would like to thank everyone for patiently listening. Thank you and have a great day ahead.